This is Jim Emter, Van Ahn Co, Alexandria, Minnesota, with their closing grain and livestock comments for March 22nd, 2018. Corn market up 1 to 1 3/4. Soybeans steadied up 3/4 of a cent. Chicago wheat up 2 to 3. Minneapolis wheat up 1 to 3 3/4. Kansas City wheat up 5 to 6 3/4. Excuse me, up 5 to 6 3/4 in Kansas City wheat. So a nice little recovery here today. We're not doing too much. We're really marking time to next Thursday's USDA crop report. Obviously, that'll be a plants report as well as a stocks report. So some important details coming out of that. Our expectations for that report are corn acres to be somewhere between that really 89 to 90 million acre, bean acreage to be somewhere around that 91, possibly as high as 92 million acres, and that's where a surprise could come, maybe a little larger. And stocks, we would anticipate a little smaller corn stocks and maybe a little larger bean stocks of what we've seen from indication from USDA. So going to be a big report nonetheless, and that is part of the reason why the market's a little complacent here, not knowing whether to take this market to the top side again and try to recover back to the highs, which with as much managed money buying is a limitation right now, or if we can really press much lower and run the risk of having increased demand factor in. Obviously, we've got the uncertainty of trade wars and tariffs and those things floating around, and the steel and aluminum tariffs are forecasted to go on by week's end, and everybody's watching China to see if they don't retaliate in some measure, but China's indicated to some degree they're going to temper those thoughts a little bit, knowing that they need to work with other nations. So we'll see how that all factors out. A lot of moving parts right now. What we do feel is that the bean market is a little bit confined into about a 40-cent range up and down. We do see that in the near-term future. We believe corn is near the bottom end of a range here. We think support will align here around this 379 July. Could we fade a little bit more? Yes, it could, but I don't think it'll. I think it'll struggle to stick below there, and I look for at least some momentum as we work ahead. But anything can happen in this environment. In the Kansas City wheat, we saw some nice reversals today. Now it's a matter of confirming them tomorrow. So we'll be watching that closely here in the near term. Obviously, a weekly end trade here with tomorrow being Friday. We also will get export sales tomorrow with the brief government shutdown. We did not get those today. So a lot of information. It's going to get pretty active, and before you know it, we're going to be out in the field here. When you look to the feeder cattle market, up 0.75 to 205, live cattle up 0.45, so 45 cents to 160 higher, and hog market down 125 to 217.5. So we're beginning to get markets that go in alternate directions there in the feeder lives versus hogs. Hog markets fade. We're in kind of into new low territory and on the verge of a greater breakdown here, which is unfortunate, but another $3 could be the likely cause of these heavyweight hogs. And the cattle market trying to stage a recovery, but all these markets can be written off one way or the other pending tomorrow's cattle on feed report or the hog and pig report. So we're watching those details, and we'll update tomorrow. This has been Jim Emter, Van Ahn Co, Alexandria, Minnesota. Trading in futures and options involves risk of loss and is not suitable for all producers. Past performance is not indicative of future results. This is a solicitation. Have a great day.